Hello everyone, my name is Siti Aziza Nurhalimah Rais, and then my student ID is 332302129. And today I will be presenting my Sociolinguistic Project 1. In this presentation, I will cover two topics for part 1, code mixing and dialect. And then for the part 2, I will analyze all 6 linguistic phenomena as required. Let's get started. Before we begin, here's a quick overview of what I'll be covering. For part 1, I choose code mixing and dialect. For part 2, I'll go through all 6 topics: diglossia, code alternation, style shifting, code mixing, code switching, and dialect. Alright, let's get started to the part 1. Our first topic is code mixing. This is one of the most common phenomena we can observe in everyday bilingual communication, especially among Indonesian university students. Let's look at what it is, why it happens, and what role it plays socially. So, what is code mixing? Code mixing is the insertion of words, phrases, or grammatical elements from one language into another. Within a single utterance, what makes it different from code switching is that the language are blended, not alternated between turns. Look at our case study. A student say, "Aku lagi ngerjain assignment yang ditanya besok." The sentence is Indonesian, but the words assignment and deadline are English, inserted naturally mid-sentence. Why does this happen? 3 reasons. First, there's a lexical gap. Words like deadline and assignment feel more natural than their Indonesian equivalents in academic youth speak. Second, it's about social identity. Mixing signals that speaker belong to a bilingual, educated community. Third, it's cognitive ease. Bilingual speakers use whichever words come to mind first, regardless of language. According to Muiskin, 2000, this is classified as insertion type code of mixing. The mixing in this case is completely natural and unself-conscious. It signals the speaker's bilingual competence, their familiarity with academic English, and a sense of informality among peers. In terms of sociolinguistic function, first, a referential function. English terms are more precise of academic concept. Second, an identity function. It positions the speaker as part of an educated bilingual community. Third, a solidarity function. It makes conversation feel casual and relatable. As Hoffman, 1991, argues, code mixing reflects the speaker's linguistic repertoire and social context. My reference for this topic are Muiskin, 2000, Hoffman, 1991, Wordhoff and Fuller, 2015, and Poplak, 1980. Moving on to our topic, dialect. This is something most of us experience daily, especially in a country as linguistic diverse as Indonesia. Let's look at what dialect is, why variation occurs, and what role it plays in communication. A dialect is a variety of a language spoken by a particular group, typically defined by region, social class, or ethnicity. Dialects differ in pronunciation, vocabulary, and sometimes grammar. Importantly, as Chamber and Churchill 1998 point, dialects are not incorrect forms of a language. They are equally valid linguistic system. In our case, students from different Indonesian region interact in a classroom. Some use standard Indonesian, while others brings in regional features. Javanese intonation, Sundanese vocabulary, or Betawi expression. According to Churchill, 2000, dialect differences arise from geographic isolation and social differentiation. People acquire their dialect in early childhood, and it carries the linguistic identity of their home community in Indonesia. With over 700 regional languages, this kind of variation is completely natural. When regional dialect features appear in a classroom, several meanings are communicated. First, cultural identity. Dialect signal where the speaker is from. Second, Authenticity. Using dialect shows the speaker is relaxed and genuine. Third, it can sometimes cause miscommunication if the features are too region-specific. Sociolinguistically, dialect serves an identify function marking group membership and regional solidarity. As Labov, 1972, showed dialect features persist even in formal setting because they are deeply tied to personal identity. My references are Trudgill 2000, Chambers and Trudgill 1998, Labov 1972, and Wardhouse and Fuller 2015. Now, we move on to part 2, where I will analyze all 6 linguistic phenomena as required, each with a case study explanation of why it occurs, the meaning it carries, and its sociolinguistic function. Let's go through them one by one. The first phenomenon is diglossia. Diglossia refers to a situation where two varieties of a language coexist, a high variety used in formal contexts and a low variety used in informal ones. This term was introduced by Ferguson 1959. In the case, a student present using formal Indonesian, the high variety, during the discussion session that same student shift to informal Indonesian with peers. The low variety, the lecturer stays in the high variety throughout. This happened because context determines variety. Formal academic setting demand the high variety, while peer interaction triggers the low. The shift signals solidarity and equality. The formality barrier drops. The lectures consist use formal Indonesian maintenance institutional. This happened because context determines variety. Formal academic setting demand the high variety, while peer interaction triggers the low. The shift signals solidarity and equality. The formality barrier drops. The lecturer's consistent use of formal Indonesian maintains institutional authority. Sociolinguistically, diglossia maintains social order by assigning appropriate varieties to different domains. Fishman, 1967, expanded this by showing that diglossia is not just about form, it's about the social function attached to each variety. The second phenomenon involves multiple practices occurring at once. In the case, a student say, "Menurut saya, this concept is very important untuk kita pahami." That's called mixing Indonesian and English blended in one sentence. Another student responds fully in English, then switches back into Indonesian with a different peer. That's called switching. And the adjustment in formality based on who is addressed, that's style shifting. Why does this happen? Lexical convenience, audience design, topic, domain, and identity expression all play a role. English is used for academic concept. Indonesian is used for peer solidarity. The meaning here is that these practices signal bilingual competence and reflect use hybrid nature of university group discussion. According to Gompers 1982 and Myers-Cotton 1993, every switch carries social meaning. Nothing is random. The third phenomenon is style shifting. A student speaks very formally during a class presentation but becomes highly informal with close friends after class. Vocabulary, tone, and sentence structure all change significantly. According to Bell, 1984, this is driven by audience design. Speakers adjust their style primarily in response to who is listening. Labov 1972 also showed that style varies along a continuum from formal to informal depending on social context. The formal styles signal competence and respect for the institutional setting. The informal styles signal authenticity and belonging among peers. Style shifting is a form of social intelligence the ability to read context and adapt accordingly. The fourth phenomenon is code mixing again. In a different case, the student say, aku lagi ngerjain assignment yang deadline-nya besok. This is insertion type code mixing. English noun inside an Indonesian grammatical base. The speaker mixes because of habit lexical gaps and in group signaling. The meaning is naturalness and bilingual ease. The speaker is communicating as efficiently as possible. Functionally, it serves referential and solidarity purpose, supported by Muskin, Poplak, and Huffman. The fifth phenomenon is code switching. A student starts in Indonesian, switching entirely to English to explain a concept, then returns to Indonesian, for example. Unlike code mixing, code switching is a like complete shift at close or turn boundaries. The switch to English happened because the concept was likely learned in English. It's the more natural vehicle. Returning to Indonesian, for example, creates accessibility and shared ground. According to Bloom and Gompers 1972, this is metaphorical switching. A language change signal a change in social frame or topic register. The functions here are expressive, referential, and social, supported by Bloom and Gompers 1972 and Myers-Cotton 1993. The sixth phenomenon is dialect. Students from different regions use regional features, pronunciation, vocabulary, intonation, alongside standard Indonesian. As I explained in part 1, dialects are systematic varieties, not errors. Variation occurs because language is shaped by geography and social history. It is deeply tied to identity, acquired in childhood and carried into every social context. The meanings communicated include cultural pride, in-group solidarity, and sometimes social distance from speakers of other regions. As Labov 1972 showed, even under pressure towards standardization, dialect persists because it is not just linguistic, it is personal. The negotiation between standard Indonesian and regional dialect reflects Indonesia's rich sociolinguistic reality, supported by Churchill 2000, Chambers and Churchill 1998, and Labov 1972. That brings me to the end of my presentation in part 1. I analyzed code mixing and dialect. In part 2, I covered all 6 phenomena, each grounded in sociolinguistic theory and academic references. What all these phenomena share is one truth: language is never just about words. Every choice we make, which languages, which variety, which style, carries social meaning. That is the heart of sociolinguistics. Thank you very much for your attention. Goodbye.